Hey. Buenos dias, everyone. How are you today? Sending you lots of vibes from here and over again. Pacific Northwest, that's how we vibe when we're getting down inside. Oh, on a dream life. Hey, how y'all doing? Hope you're enjoying the dream, living the waking dream. Oh, I love this part. Hope y'all are doing well today, enjoying the quarantine, just like enjoying the ability to have all the free time in the world to do whatever it is that we want to do. I just have this day today that I'm like so stoked about because it's back to back to back with awesome things. I've got 3 coaching sessions today. I've got 2 meetings that are working on dream projects, and then an interview later tonight with Sasha Stone, who created a documentary about 5G. So I'm just like super pumped. But this morning I had a session with one of my clients, and what we ended up getting deep into is productivity and staying in alignment with your higher self. And what we were kind of exploring and the challenge that he was facing was that it's like, how do you stay in alignment with really having a burning desire to cultivate your higher self, to be your higher self, to stay in alignment and have integrity to that vision of who you know you are here to be, right? Because it's like, we can't run away from the fact that, so often we say, oh, if I only had more time, then I would do this, right? If I only had more time, I would, be able to dedicate myself to living a more aligned life or feeling better or whatever it is. And it's this constant, this voice inside of our head, the ego, that's, if this, then that, maybe when I get this job, then I will finally feel secure. Maybe when I find this relationship, then I will finally feel loved and feel whole, and it's almost as if we're in a subconscious state of not having enough. It's this idea of not enoughness, and I know I'm digressing down this idea of talking about the ego, but when it comes to really hacking productivity and being in full alignment with our dharma, with our mission, I think it's important to become aware that there is a deeper underlying story inside of our body that is, our ego and our body that is programmed to a particular timeline, right? It's programmed to a particular past and an assumption of what we think the future is going to look like. And we usually create from a mind state of this particular timeline. Now, in quantum physics, we talk about 3D is this box that you're looking through now, and we have 2 eyes that give us the ability to see 3D. Cool. Thanks, universe. Good upgrade. Then you have 4D, which is this box spread out over time. 4D is time. And then we have 5D. Right? 5D is vertical times or vertical dimensions of this present moment, where in infinite dimensions, you are experiencing this present moment infinitely differently, in infinite different ways emotionally, right? So there is a dimension where in this present moment, you are feeling fully aligned, fully activated, fully turned on, and like, you just feel like you're in alignment with your sacred mission, and everything's falling into place in perfect time and perfect synchronicity, and we're just residing in an emotional state with a deep knowingness that is true, right? And it doesn't have to be, you don't need outside sources to be like, oh yeah, everything's according to plan, everything's perfect, in order to feel like everything is perfect. You can feel like everything is perfect right now in this present moment without anyone telling you, without Donald Trump making a Twitter post saying everything's going to be okay, right? We don't need an outside authority to tell us that right now in this present moment everything is perfect, everything's falling into perfect place at the perfect time. But it is a muscle. It is a muscle that we must cultivate in order to reside in a dream state or an ideal state. We're always in a dream state, right? Whether we're aware of it or not, we're always in that kind of like half asleep, half awake, conscious, unconscious state. And the question is, do you want to create your ideal dream life? And that was what the topic of our session was that I had earlier with one of my clients. We were like, okay, like if you were to binge on your higher self, what would that look like? If you were to have a higher self binge week where you were just like making love to your higher self, like you were just reveling in the majesty of your dream life, what would it look like? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, well then let's create that, right? And so obviously we can only create our dream life starting in the present moment. So this is a good place to start, giving yourself space and time to say, okay, I'm going to dedicate this present moment and the next hour to cultivating the next and designing the next week. I'm going to start designing and drafting my dream life. And so the practice here, if you've ever learned or heard about this technology called block scheduling. Block scheduling is an amazing productivity hack that I've been using for many years, and it's essentially going into your Google Calendar, if you use Google, and creating your day, starting in the morning, starting with your morning practice, and actually scheduling, saying, okay, I want to, in my ideal day, I want to wake up at 6:30 or 6 o'clock. I usually do 6:30. Recently, I've been staying up late, watching, crazy YouTube videos about the state of our planet. So I wake up at 6:30 and I get a big glass of water and a cup of coffee, and then I meditate for an hour. And I just go deep into my meditation. Then I'll usually go for a walk and I'll say my affirmations. If you're part of the Quantum Creator Group, you know that we've got our affirmations that we're doing right now that are like next level consciousness technologies, encoding our subconscious with important, valuable belief systems, and really starting to nourish those seeds with our consciousness, with our awareness, so that we start to plant and deep root a much more limitless belief structure inside of our mind. So go through that, go on a walk in the park. I usually like to do a little bit of dancing too in nature. I just go deep into some woods and just dance and get weird and do my own ecstatic dance movement. And then I come back home and I have my productivity block. And when you're blocking these things out in your Google Calendar, you want to give yourself nice chunks. And you're basically drafting out or designing what the ideal day is going to look like. Now you can then go and you can, repeat that. You can repeat those days, so you can basically change the settings in your Google Calendar. You can click on the actual event on the block, and then it opens it up on Google Calendar, and then you can have it repeat every day. And so the cool thing about Google Calendar is that you can create custom calendars. So you don't have to have just one calendar where it's like everything that you're doing. You can create your higher self calendar, where essentially you design, you create, and you hit the plus button on the left side of your screen, create new calendar. It's my higher self calendar, and maybe it's, you can change the color of it, whatever. And then you will then go and start designing this calendar. You can turn all of the other calendars off, so you don't see any of your normal schedule. All you see is your higher self calendar. Then you go through and you start designing out this day. You create blocks. Block scheduling is the topic of the conversation right now. You create the blocks of the different actions that you want to take. You want each block, each item to have an inspired intention or an inspired title. So rather than lunch, you might call it like high vibration nutrients, or something like that, something healthy lunch, or whatever you want to call it. And so you're really just pre-programming yourself to have those types of days. Now, don't worry. If you have a big, busy schedule, the shift that you need to do, and you've got busy stuff to, get done, then you can always turn off your higher self calendar. Don't worry. Doesn't mean that, just because you didn't do your higher self calendar every single day for the rest of your life means that you're out of alignment and the world's going to come collapsing in. No, you get to turn it off, and then you can turn it on, and you can turn on your higher self calendar in any moment that you want. And so you can always refer back to it and be like if you have a moment where you're like, what should I do right now? And then you're like, higher self calendar, turn that thing on, reference back to where you would be at in this type of time of day. And then maybe you take a little microdose of meditation, or maybe you do a little, whatever it is, wherever you're at in that part of your day. So you create your morning practice. You create your productivity sessions. I usually have 1, 2, or 3 productivity sessions throughout my day. And I usually try to do my productivity stuff in the beginning of the day, and then I'll do my physical practice, my exercise towards the end of the day, because your brain operates in peak performance through the first half of the day. So you sleep. When you sleep, your brain is actually, you have these microglial cells or glial cells. The glial gardeners come and they clean out all the neural synaptic connections that aren't being used, and it reinforces the neural synaptic network that you are using. So for the people in the Quantum Creator group that are doing these affirmations with me, we are hardwiring these new belief systems into our brains. And when we hardwire those, when you go and you take a nap, the old limiting beliefs that you haven't been using because you've been too busy cultivating these positive belief structures, those old neural synaptic networks get cleaned away by the glial gardeners, or the glial gardeners. They take those old things away. We are reinforcing and hardwiring neurons that fire together, wire together, right? So we're wiring together a new neural synaptic web. And then when you wake up in the morning, you've got the old stuff is cleared away. You wake up, you get your stuff, you do your morning meditation, and now you're turning your body on, and you're just galactivating your bioenergetic matrix with a new intention, right? How cool is that? It's now you're taking that strong new network, and then you're activating it to a new level and constantly upgrading. Now, I know we're talking about productivity hacks here, but right now I'm talking about hacking the old self and then reinforcing the new self so that you can be more productive, right? Because if you are, having relapses into limiting beliefs and allowing for your ego to have its way with you and, in you, and you're consciously handing it over, is that very productive? Are we trying to, create our dream life, or are we just going to stay in the unconscious dream? What's more productive? So we have all this time on our hands, and we get to play with this stuff, and it's a good time to do experiments on ourselves. I love to do experiments on my brain and my body, going cold turkey, getting just if you have an addiction, just boom, done. Nope, I'm gonna go for 7 days, I'm gonna go for 1 month, I'm gonna go for 2 months, whatever it may be, whatever you decide, just to practice that malleability and that neural plasticity that we have the option to do at any point. The more that you practice that conscious decision of deciding that I'm going to do this differently, you're taking control, and you're taking those little steps, step by step by step. And the more that you do that, those little victories lead up to bigger victories. Becoming the master of your mind and the master of your schedule, because we are talking about productivity hacks for quantum creators. Now, we were tuning our bodies, right? We're tuning our bodies as instruments. And as we start to clear out those old beliefs, we're reinforcing new beliefs, and we're creating this dream life schedule. Now, you might have your higher self schedule, and then you might create another calendar that is your productivity schedule, right? Let's say that you got a bunch of projects that you want to do, and you really feel inspired to create, and you really just want to focus on being productive. you might have a different schedule than your higher self calendar. Your higher self calendar might have like evening meditations. It might have more like meditative, self-nurturing, self-practice types of activities, more physical practice, whereas your productivity calendar may have more bigger blocks where you're going for longer sessions. Now, there's a man named Stephen Kotler. He's the creator of the Flow Genome Project, along with Jamie Wheel, and he was talking about how our ability to one of the practices in being productive and staying Zen-like focused is to basically give yourself these project sprints. So a sprint is where you will just go for 45 minutes solid, and you'll just work on one project for 45 minutes, and you set a timer. You have that timer on your phone going the whole time. You close out all of your tabs, you close everything out, you've got that timer going, and you're just crushing it on one project. You gotta stay focused, all right? You gotta stay focused on that one thing, 45 minutes. When that's up, boom, you take a 10 to 15 minute just like flow break where you just go and roll around on the ground and do some breath work. Maybe you get a little snack. You got 15 minutes to chill, and then you go, boom, second productivity session, and you go another 45 minutes. This is a really great practice. A lot of entrepreneurs will utilize these types of sprints as a tool to get massive productivity done on projects. So you could there's a book that I suggest reading. It's called Scrum, SCRUM, and it stands for something, but Scrum is a methodology of sprints, and it's a productivity method, and it gives you a lot of different ideas around basically assessing what you want to achieve on a project, and saying, okay, here's my goals for the day. I'm going to break it up into these 3 parts, and then you allocate a certain amount of times for each project. You reverse engineer it in that way, and then you pull those items into your day, into your calendar, and you map it out, and then you set that timer, and you just go for it. You do the sprint. We do this in design, whether it's web design or project app design. A lot of technology companies are using these methods, but I think it's important for us as quantum creators to also apply these methods to our projects, because the more power that we have over our time and over our mind, the greater impact that we can make. And I'm the type of person who believes in working smart and not hard. I really want to work the minimum amount of effort for the maximum amount of results, right? And so it's really important for us to really identify what are those things that really light us up and cause us to be inspired to create. Because if we're not inspired to create, then it's like we have to really work harder. It's like there's more resistance there. And so so it's also important to think about maybe you're wanting to be productive and you just don't know where to start. And so a really great hack for this is to tune into your energy. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and ask yourself this question: what feels most inspiring right now? What am I feeling most inspired to create right now? And just play with that for a moment. Just feel into that. What feels most inspiring for me to get into, to start creating? And then take action from that space. One of the most important things for just being productive is operating from a state of inspiration rather than need, right? Or I have to do this, right? Now, sometimes the things that you have to do are the most inspired things because you got to get those done, right? Those will drive you. So play with that. And if you feel inspired to go deeper into this with me, reach out. I would love to share more with you. I've got so many just hacks for staying in alignment with your higher self. I think it's so important. And when you do that, you are truly operating from a state of inspiration, alignment, and flow. So, sending you all so much love on this beautiful spring Wednesday here in Oregon. The Pacific Northwest is absolutely gorgeous right now. And excited to be making some moves here in the near future as well to my future home. So excited to share more on that. Sending you all so much love and aloha from Oregon. And if you feel inspired to do a sacred strategy intuitive life path design session with me, they are so epic, you guys. I'm telling you, it will create so much shift and alignment in your life. I'm doing 3 sessions with clients today. I feel so excited to just be working with people to get really crystal clear on what it is that you are here to do on this planet. That is my superpower. That is my dharma, and it's my gift and offering to the world. So if you feel inspired, reach out. Would love to work with you. And until then, sending you so much love. Peace.